Hello guys and welcome back to the channel for another weekly watches. As you can see, it's not me today, it's going to be an audio one. I don't have time to set things up to do a video today, it's a busy week for me. If you hear anything in the background, it's two mischievous, misbehaving little dogs who keep woofing out the window. So, fair warning. So let's kick off the week with the first movie that I watched, which was The Bigfoot Trap. Now, I'm not going to talk a great deal about this because this is one that I reviewed for Leo at Geek Legion of Doom. The review will be going up eventually on that channel. All I will say is it's not a Bigfoot movie in the conventional sense of the word. And it did have quite a few issues, so I couldn't really recommend it, to be honest. So, finally, John Wick Chapter 4. And you're going to look at that and you're going to say 3 stars out of 5, Lisa? Unfortunately, yes, 3 stars out of 5. I love the latter half. I think I don't need to open this for you to know what other people thought of it. Most people absolutely loved it, look at that. The first half of the movie, especially the section with the first fight that went on for what seemed like forever, it's similar to what Sin from Sin's Corner said. I can only suspend belief for a certain amount of time before it starts to get absolutely ridiculous. I do really enjoy the hand-to-hand combat, but when you start bringing guns in and people are being shot at 100 times and not one of them's hitting them, then it's like, oh, come on already. I really did like the latter part of the movie, the last third. I loved the final standoff, we'll put it that way. I loved the section filmed around the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. That was all great. I just wasn't a big fan of the first half of the movie, is the only way I can put it. I love Keanu Reeves. I really enjoy the John Wick movies, but it was a bit, the fight scenes, I want a little bit more padding the movie out than fight scenes, but I suppose that's what the movie is, so maybe, I'm not the target audience for that one. On the following evening, this is one I've been wanting to see for so long because I studied the case of Emmett Till, which is a harrowing case. This follows his mother. So, the true story of Mamie Till Mobley's relentless pursuit of justice for her 14-year-old son, Emmett Till, who in 1955 was lynched while visiting his cousins in Mississippi. Exactly as it says, this young lad goes into a store. He lives further north and he's not quite used to quite how bad the race divide still is in the south in Mississippi. He goes into a shop and he compliments the lady behind the counter. He tells her she looks like a movie star. Played by Haley Bennett. The beautiful Haley Bennett plays this horrible piece of work. And as he leaves, this 14-year-old wolf whistles at this white woman. And basically, long story short, she lies about what's happened. She exaggerates what's happened. And this young lad, it's a true story, ends up being lynched, killed, and it's harrowing. It's a story that everyone knows, so I hope that's not spoilers. I think everyone's very aware of the story. They sent the body back to the mother and she insisted on an open casket. And the mess, as I can put it, of that child's face and body was just, it was harrowing stuff. Apologies, you're probably going to hear some creaks. My husband's walking about upstairs. I'll forgive him. It is our wedding anniversary today. 13 years married, guys. 18 years together today. You'd have got less for a life sentence. So I gave that one a 3.5 out of... Yeah, hello, Dobby. Hello, don't lick the microphone. Go on. Good girl. 3.5 out of 5. Danielle Detweiler's performance was just amazing. How she didn't get nominated for an Oscar for this, I will never understand. Absolutely wonderful performance. The story, it's a true story, but I do feel they could have concentrated more on what actually happened to Emmett and the situation surrounding that. But it mainly, what the writer wanted to do was follow from the mother's perspective, so we don't really get to see an awful lot of what went on. We get to see the aftermath of that, the court case. I won't tell you what happened with the court case, you will be absolutely stunned. Till is a very, very good true story, so I thoroughly recommend that one. So, spoiler alert, oh my life, this done me in, this movie. So, I watched this movie because Jim Parsons is in it, the lovely Jim Parsons, and Ben Aldridge. So, love never stops surprising you, even when you know how it ends. Journalist Michael, oh, how would we say that, Ocelio, embarks on a roller coaster of emotions when Kit Cowan, his partner of 14 years, is diagnosed with terminal cancer. My word, guys, this is one of the saddest movies I've seen. It's also one of the most realistic relationship movies I've seen. Actually, not sugarcoating things, showing how things are, showing the initial meet, the progression of the relationship, the moving in together, problems that they may have, but how when the chips are down and this horrible diagnosis is made, that they band together. It's so sad, and what makes it even worse is it's a true story. There's some other people's ratings on that. I can see Dan felt very similarly to me about that one. It's so sad though, guys. So sad. It's one of those I couldn't watch again. Akin to Marley and Me, I'll never watch that movie again. I don't think I could ever watch this one again, even though it's a really good movie and I thoroughly recommend you check it out. I don't think I could watch that one again. It's, oh dear me, heartbreaking. So, a couple of days, oh yes, went to the cinema to see Evil Dead Rise. Really enjoyed it, 4 out of 5. I think most people are enjoying this one. Let me open that for you. I love the little hints of humour. As if you know me, you'll probably know that horror and comedy is quite difficult for me to get right. I feel that the little nods here were spot on, were really good. I absolutely loved oh Lisa, you should have kept it over the actors' names. The actress that played the sister of the main mother, I loved her from start to finish. Love her voice. She reminds me of a young Juliette Lewis with that like really raspy voice. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was entertaining, it was fun in places. The gore was just out of this world, wasn't it? It was just crazy amounts of gore. From the trailers, I thought it was going to be a lot scarier than it actually was, a lot darker, a lot grittier. And you're probably thinking, with that much blood, Lisa, how much darker do you want? It had that kind of like slapstick feel to it. Although, as people have said, that is pretty much what Evil Dead is known for. But I did thoroughly recommend it. I give it a 4 out of 5. I think it was just really a personal preference. I would have liked them to make it just a little bit scarier. But what I did see, I did really enjoy. And the little nods to previous entries in the franchise, obviously, very much appreciated. So, 12 Monkeys. This is a rewatch. I haven't actually clicked that it was a rewatch. I don't even know how to now. So, I saw this movie many years ago when it first came out. A lot of people had been talking about it recently on streams, and I thought, you know what, I need to revisit this movie, and I did. I remember being quite confused by it when I first saw it, but I was really young when I first saw this. I saw it at the cinema, I think. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the performances. I thought Brad Pitt was fantastic. I do think Bruce Willis could have been better cast, and I don't mean Bruce Willis, the character could have been better cast. I did hear they wanted Nicolas Cage for this, which I do feel would have been a better choice for the character. But Bruce Willis does give a fantastic performance. I just feel it needed a little bit of a manic nature that he perhaps can't carry across quite as well as Nick Cage can. And Nick Cage has the acting chops. I don't care what anyone says. Watch Leaving Las. Stop it, Dobby. The dog is butt scooting across the floor. Enough of that, or you'll be a warming tablet for you. This is interfering with my vlogging. No, it's not vlogging, it's cinema reviews. It's, oh Jesus Christ, I can't even do it right on microphone, guys. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked the story. I didn't like Madeline Stowe in it at all. I didn't find her believable. Really liked Brad Pitt. I enjoyed it, 3 out of 5, but I'm not as in love with it as most other people seem to be. And that sort of whole Terry Gilliam futuristic steampunk thing, I'm just not a fan of that at all. I feel like I'm watching a Pink Floyd video. And on the 23rd, I watched a documentary. I can't remember if this is on Netflix or Prime. I think it's Netflix. $10 Death Trip Inside the Fentanyl Crisis. So this is just about the opioid addiction in North America to the drug fentanyl. I do sort of like to watch documentaries about things like this. For anyone that doesn't know, I used to take a drug called Lyrica. I can't remember. I think gabapentin may be the medical name for it. And I was on that drug for about 8 years for fibromyalgia pain. And I saw a documentary about, it was called Buds, and there were these people sitting out of their face like zombies taking this thing that I was taking for pain. So basically, because it wasn't making much difference to me at this stage so far on, I decided to come off the drug, and what followed was 6 months of sheer absolute bloody hell. I can understand why people that take these things. One guy was in a car accident and he broke almost every bone in his body, and he got addicted to opioids for painkiller obvious reasons. Coming off these guys is harder than coming off cocaine and heroin, and that's from a support page I found when I was trying to come off. There were people that had used hard drugs, and they said coming off opioids is more difficult, and I can concur. It was one of the most difficult 6-month periods of my life. It was hellish. I can't do a video about it if anyone's interested, but yeah, I do tend to find this sort of thing interesting. It's heartbreaking to see the situation loads of people have got themselves in. A lot of this is filmed in Canada, and it's, oh dear me, it's just sad. It could have been a much better documentary, though I scored it a 2.5 because it's only, I think it's just under an hour long. It could have been more sort of like in depth, and it could have maybe followed one person's story a little bit more. So yeah, it's okay, but it's not the best documentary I've ever seen. And finally, on the 23rd, which was Sunday, I watched Death of Me. Now this one's on Prime. It has terrible reviews. It I think has a 4 point something on IMDb, 4 point something out of 10, that is. I didn't think it was anywhere near that bad. I thought it was quite entertaining. I gave it a 3 out of 5. A couple on holiday on a remote South Pacific island waken one morning with a hangover and no recollection of what transpired. When playing back a video of the previous night, they say they participated in a local ritual that somehow ends with him murdering her. That sounds all kinds of weird. You need to watch it to find out what they're referring to. We've got Luke Hemsworth and Maggie Q here as the two main leads. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really interesting movie. I didn't think it was terrible at all. The acting performances were fine. The cinematography was stunning because of the location. Nothing really I could find to say was awful. I thought it was entertaining, guys. So yeah, Death of Me, 3 out of 5. I'll not go into this chat room one because I watched that last night, which was Monday, so I'll talk about that for you next week. I'll just leave the screen up for you here. So yeah, what else have I been watching? I've been watching Ted Lasso every week, which I love, which is my little injection of feel good for the week. Ghosty stuff, as always. I found a show called The Holzer Files on Discovery Plus, which is really interesting, which follows a crew which is re-examining a really old previous paranormal investigator's files, re-examining what he found and sort of updating it with the help of his daughter. So I find that sort of thing really interesting. I can't think off the top of my head of anything else I've been watching. In the UK, if you're in the UK, a new series of I'm a Celebrity has started, set in Africa, which obviously I'm very much interested in. I'm watching that one. It's got lots of people from previous I'm a Celebrity shows in, so we'll watch that. We like seeing people go through a few little trials and tribulations, so I'll be checking that out every evening at 9 o'clock. So that's what's happening at the moment, folks. Sorry for the lack of video today. It's a bit of a busy, stressful week. My mother's not too well again. She's bedridden at the moment, so there's a lot of out in and into her house, so sort of a bit of a frantic person at the minute, so apologies for the lack of the video this week. But hopefully this sufficed, and maybe you got a couple of movies if I could recommend from this week. Please watch Spoiler Alert. It's a fabulous movie, and Till is also, it is quite slow, but it is still a fabulous movie and well worth a watch. I think everybody and their dog has watched Evil Dead Rise and John Wick 4, so I'll not recommend those. Death of Me is a nice little horror if you want something to do on an evening. But definitely this week, Till and Spoiler Alert are my two recommendations. So thanks so much for listening, folks, and hopefully we'll be back to normal next week with the video. This Sunday I shall be on Did You See That mega charity stream. I shall be on from 9 till 10. So I look forward to seeing some of you in the stream, some of you hopefully in the live chat watching the stream, and obviously there is a little link in Mike's information to donate to PDSA, which it is all in aid of, even a quid, as he said. Any donation is appreciated. So thanks so much, guys, and I shall hopefully see you next week. Over and out from Lisa Lives.